Yeah. My friend's Joel here with the band For King and Country, and you are watching and listening to Real Dialogue and the Watch List. Keep it right here.
Hey everybody, this is Russ Matthews from Reel Dialogue and the Watchlist. I am honored today to be talking with Joel Smallbone from For King and Country, who is actually releasing a new film about his family's life, Unsung Hero. So Joel, the Watchlist and Reel Dialogue, we're here to kind of welcome you to this chat. We're going to talk a bit about your family and also your career, but the real reason we're here to talk about Unsung Hero. So we're looking forward to this film. Mate, I got to tell you, especially as an immigrant who brought his whole family across the sea to another country to really do the Lord's work in another land. It's amazing how this film just really hit our hearts. And also, my daughters just love the fact that one of the first concerts they got to see when they came to Australia was Rebecca St. James. And so what
Wow.
what an impact. They even have a CD with her signature on it. So it's really quite a blessing to us. So, hey, how often do you get back to Australia? Do you get back to Australia much yourself?
Now, well, this will be the first time in 5 years. So
Wow.
pre-pandemic. Yeah, Mariah and I, my wife, we would try and get back every year, and we had a pretty good run for about 3 consecutive years. And then we did a tour in 2019, which was embarrassingly our first ever for King Country tour in Australia. And
Oh, great.
then we were like, we're going to come back. And then the pandemic hit. And
Right.
so we've finally figured out how to come down for our homecoming and get to tack on, speaking of Unsung Hero, a few movie premieres at the
I know
same
this is going to
time,
be
which is great.
fantastic.
Yeah.
We cannot wait. We're actually going to be a part of that. We can't wait for you to be the one here in Sydney. And now with this one, I'd love to talk more about your career, but maybe we'll kind of, I mean, your music career, but let's kind of maybe unpack the movie. And I have a feeling a lot of that will kind of unfold as we kind of talk about Unsung Hero with its release here at the end of May. And let's see, let me talk about being an overachiever. Let's see, writer, director, lead actor, all this sort of thing. You kind of take it all on. You're bringing
Right.
the story of the Smallbones to your family to life on the big screen. So, can you tell our audience why you chose to bring your family story to cinemas? I'd really be curious about that.
Yeah. Well, it's a fascinating concept, right? And like anything, these ideas start off small. So Luke had told our family story at almost every For King Country show um, since the beginning of our time as musicians. And we've had
Wow.
so many people come up and say, hey, you should write a book. And Luke jokes that we were homeschooled, so we don't read and write very well. So we'll give you one better. We'll give you a movie. And fast forward to 2020, he called a producer friend in Hollywood and said, what do you think about this idea? And he was like, man, I really love it. And so the story really chronicles our starting in Australia, starting actually at the
Yeah.
Sydney Opera House at like a striper show. Dad was a concert promoter, lost everything. And then mom and he decided to pack 16 suitcases, 6 kids, 6 months pregnant with the seventh, and move continents and start over. And then lost everything when we arrived in the States. And it's really a story about miracles and mums and the celebration of family and the 90s and so on. And so I didn't anticipate setting up to do the whole kit and caboodle, the co-writing and co-directing. But I will say I did from the beginning. I did Russ set out and go, you know what? It'd be really interesting if I played our dad in the
Yeah.
film. And I did just that.
You did. It even had his jacket. I remember seeing in the picture. I love that the leather jacket and everything like that you had. It was quite
Yeah,
impressive.
good pull.
Actually, and I thought about that playing my dad in a film would be fascinating, but even the fact that you kind of played him warts and all. I mean, you showed both the vulnerable sides as well as the heroic sides of him. And what was that like playing your father and actually just kind of bringing his story to the screen?
Well, I've joked it was a very expensive therapy session, you know. And I should say for those of you watching or listening, both my parents are still with us, and so that obviously is
Right.
a beautiful thing. but creates a bit of complexity when you're trying to tell a pretty grounded story. And I will admit, I've been pretty lazy, I think, with their story, in the fact that Luke and I were so young when we moved that it was just this adventure. You know,
Right.
we got to play cricket in the living room because we didn't have any furniture, or we got to rake leaves and mow lawns. And yet when you sort of flip the script, if you will, and I'm roughly Dad's age now when he moved, and then so you drop into his shoes, or as you well said, his literal jacket from 30 years ago, and you're feeling out all of the complexities of the compounding failure, or the fear, or the pride. Man, it changes the way you look at the whole situation. And my empathy for him has grown just
Right.
dramatically. Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, he is definitely a hero, but also I can see definitely your mother as being kind of showcased as one of the unsung heroes of this film. I'm really fascinated how involved were all of your family in the whole process of kind of writing this story, because you have to kind of keep it true, but also what do you have
Yeah.
to kind of do to bring it and make it compelling for also for cinema in that process?
Well, I have to admit, as much as this is sort of a family affair on almost every level, like Luke co-produced it, now brother-in-law's second unit director, and so on, there's such a host of incredible creatives that came around on both sides of the camera. So
Right.
Richard Ramsey, who co-wrote it and co-directed it with me, really took it upon himself to do all the interviews and collect all the data from the family. And then you have folks like, John Locke from Lost, or Terry O'Quinn, and DJ Tanner from Full House, Candace Cameron, or Lucas Black from Fast and Furious, or even Lionsgate, who just literally have put it in theaters across America these last 2 weeks. And on the week of
Wow.
the release was #2 movie in America, which was sort of mind
It's
blowing.
amazing.
But you
Yeah.
have these incredible minds kind of rally around the film, beyond the family. So we were all kind of involved at some level. There's a bunch of little Easter egg cameos, but the real charm of this film is it's so much more about the family than it is about our family. It's so much more about mums than it is about our mum. It's just, we've always prescribed to this idea that the closer you get to our own heart in creativity, the further it reaches out into someone else's. And so
Mm.
that's what we try to do with this film. This is about as close to home as we could possibly get.
Exactly. Well, I mean, because I think as an author, one of the things that people always say, write what you know. And so, I mean, this obviously really kind of was quite poignant.
Right.
It was definitely one that really could be able to do that. But also, one of the things that you did bring out, I mean, what we do at Real Dialogue is really put film through the lens of faith. And so, really kind of talking about not only your family, but also the impact of your Christian faith and how that impacts you. How does that, not only in your concerts, but also even in a film, how important is that to you? But also, what is it that really kind of inspired you to kind of do that?
One thing I loved about this story, Ross, is it just is, you know.
Right.
I think whenever you try and start fabricating or shoving faith, if you will, into places that, it's hard to say it doesn't exist, because it exists everywhere, but
Right.
that it can end up feeling sort of fabricated or forced, or even like you're proselytizing. But what was beautiful about this story is it just is. We all did this. We all prayed for everything. We all saw miracles. And that's kind of been the story of our lives in many ways. And that even as creatives, we never set out to, um, shove Jesus down people's throats, as much as we set out to go, this is our experience. And like you well said, you write what you know.
Right.
And what we know is the incredible faithfulness of God. And even in times of struggle, Hollywood Reporter over here wrote a great article. They said, turning struggle into adventure, to surmise the
Yeah.
film. And I thought, what a cool way to surmise not only the film, but even faith. What if that could be our faith? That we turn
Right.
struggle into adventure, you know?
Yeah. Oh, well, the other thing I think I appreciated too is that you could have, with your band, with Luke, be able to kind of showcase that. But really what you did is really show your family story, but also Rebecca's rise into as far as an artist and along those lines, along with Ed DeGarmo. And I grew up with DC Talk and all those sort of things. So absolutely love that. But most of it happens in America. So how would you say this really kind of connects with the Australian audience? Because as it's come into the shores of Australia, it
Mm,
was very
mm.
successful, which I'm glad to see in America. But how do you think this will really speak to the Australian heart?
Yeah, well, you know what? It's for my first interview, so you're the first time I've been asked that question.
Yeah,
Uh, Look, I think this is such an Aussie film. This
right.
is such, it's like part of the reason I wanted to make it is because it's like this is the Aussie tenacity, right? This is the Aussie dream. This is the overcoming Aussie resilience. And yeah, you're right. It starts the first 20 minutes or so are in Australia, the Sydney Opera House, and in your very hometown there. And then it sort of launches out of that into America. But I just, and I love the culture clash. This is
Right.
American in Australia, like Australians coming to America, and the sort of the misunderstandings of accents and all the rest of it. But at the heart of it, like I think Australia loves deeply. Australia loves our mums. Australia loves family.
Mm.
And this is a story that really celebrates those attributes of the human experience. And so I think if you enjoy hearing Aussie accents in a movie the whole way through, and then the contrast of
Right.
Southern American accents, I
Oh,
think I think you'll enjoy this.
yeah, absolutely love that with the one gentleman all of a sudden, oh, you're from Australia. I'd love to have an accent. Man, he had a strong Southern
Yeah,
accent, so that was fantastic. So,
it did.
hey, we're probably right towards the end of our time, but I really wanted to give you the last say. What would you really want to tell the audiences for Real Dialogue and the watch list about Unsung Hero, and what would you like to kind of leave them with?
Yeah. Well, for a start, unsunghero.movie.com, so the marketing people don't murder me. That's where you can go for all the information. Secondly, premiering in theaters. I think 150 theaters across Australia
Yeah,
on the 30th of this month.
right.
We're doing a premiere in your great town on the 29th. But look, I would just say this. I would say this is the definition, like I said, of a passion project for us. And not only that, I think it's been universally sort of embraced over here because it is very much about the human experience. It's an adventure. It's about mums and miracles and music in the 90s, and it's about family. And so I would just say, hey, if you love cinema, if you want to see these types of movies on the silver screen, then
Yeah.
not only come out yourself, but grab a family member and a friend and join us in the theaters on the 30th onward. And we're excited to be down there when it all takes place.
Yeah, man, we are so excited to be able to see it. I can't wait to share this myself because I've seen the film, loved it, and I really think that it's one that our audience should get out to see and definitely go out and support this, as well as not just a great movie, but it's just a great story of faith,
Mm.
miracles, mothers, and God. So I really am thankful for that. So thanks so much for this time today, Joel. Thanks so much, Joel, for your time at Real Dialogue and the Watch List. We are looking forward to the arrival of Unsung Hero on Australian shores and also in New Zealand on the 30th of May. So hopefully you can enjoy that film. If you want to find out more about cinema locations, all you have to do is go to faithmedia.com.au. That's faithmedia.com.au. And they'll be able to kind of show you exactly where you'll be able to see Unsung Hero. And as Joel said, please don't just go out there by yourself. Make sure you bring along your family because this is one that the whole family can enjoy together. Unsung Hero coming on the 30th of May in Australia.